Please help me for 1K subscribers. I never imagined that asking for something so trivial could make the world outside my hospital room feel so violently indifferent. I woke to the sterile hum of fluorescent lights, the rhythmic beeping of machines that had been my constant companions for days, and the faint smell of antiseptic clinging to every corner. My body was weak, a marionette whose strings had frayed during the weeks of illness, and yet it was the world outside the hospital that yanked me awake with a jolt that no painkiller could dull. The first thing I noticed was the silence. Not the comforting kind, but the hollowing silence of an empty apartment I had once called home. My mind scrambled for explanations. Maybe she thought I'd like it that way? That she was helping me by cleaning? But deep down I already knew. The feeling was far heavier than any accidental neglect. I arrived at the apartment, my hands trembling as I inserted the key into the lock. The door swung open to a space I no longer recognized. My furniture, my bed, my desk, the small bookshelf that had carried the weight of my favorite novels, was gone. Photos, the ones I'd taken over years of travel and quiet Sundays, were gone. Even my little record collection, which I'd insisted on preserving like fragile relics, had vanished. The smell of cleaning detergent lingered in the air, sharp and clinical, an artificial scent trying to mask the absence of my life. And then I saw it. A note taped to the fridge in her neat, looping handwriting. I thought it was time for a fresh start. Fresh start? I wanted to scream, to tear the paper from the fridge and light it on fire, but my body betrayed me. I could only stand there, shivering with disbelief and something far worse, betrayal. I tried calling her. The first few rings went unanswered. Then voicemail. Then nothing. The messages I left felt absurd, childish, but I couldn't stop. Where are you? Why would you do this? Please, we can talk. Every word sounded like I was talking to a stranger, to a ghost who had borrowed her voice. The apartment was eerily silent except for the faint hum of the refrigerator. I walked from room to room, tracing the outlines of where my life had been. The living room smelled faintly of her perfume, the one she always wore on weekends when she knew I would notice. My chest tightened. How could someone dismantle the world we built, piece by piece, and leave only a shadow? I remembered the subtle signs, the small ones I had dismissed, the unexplained text messages that made her flinch when I walked into the room, the late nights working overtime, the way her eyes sometimes avoided mine when I tried to ask simple questions. I had rationalized them as stress, as tiredness, as life itself. But now, each little moment carved into my memory like a warning I refused to heed. The truth hit me slowly, like water rising in a dark room. She hadn't just cleaned. She had given it all away. My couch now belonged to a stranger, my records scattered to unknown hands, my life parceled out like trash. The betrayal was not just physical. It was emotional, spiritual, the very essence of my connection to her and our shared existence. And then the phone buzzed. I flinched, hoping it might be her, hoping it might be an explanation. But it wasn't. It was a message from my neighbor. Hey, saw some people moving furniture from your place last week. Didn't know if you knew. I sank into the emptiness of the couch she had left behind. Not mine. Not hers either. Just gone. My mind spiraled. The weeks of hospital stays, the moments she claimed she understood me, the promises whispered in dimly lit rooms, all illusions now. I thought about confronting her, but the anger that should have burned through me was replaced with something more insidious. Disbelief, confusion, mourning. I had loved her, trusted her with my weakness, my vulnerability. She had responded with erasure, with a casual decision to rewrite the narrative of my life without me. I remembered her voice the night before I was hospitalized, soft, almost tender. You worry too much. Everything will be fine. I had clung to that voice, thinking it was the anchor in my storm. But now I realized it was a lie, a prelude to this calculated disappearance. I left the apartment that evening, walking the streets in a daze, the city lights blurring into one continuous glare of what I had lost. People passed, unaware of the hurricane inside me. I wondered, not for the first time, if betrayal always wore a smile when it struck. Days passed. I learned she had sold many of my belongings for cash, given away the rest to friends and family. The rationalizations she must have whispered to herself, not at me. She said she wanted a fresh start. But whose life was she imagining now, if not the one we had built together? And then, as I sat alone one night in the dark, the reality hit me fully. Some wounds don't bleed. They rot quietly, hidden beneath the surface, leaving you forever aware of what's missing. I had survived my illness, only to confront a sickness I could not treat. A betrayal so intimate it left me hollowed, haunted, and profoundly aware of my own vulnerability. I wrote her a final message. No accusations, no desperate pleading. Just one line. I hope your fresh start brings you the peace you could not give me. And then I deleted her number, every trace of her contact, every reminder of a life she had dismantled. I don't know if I will ever forgive her. I don't know if I will ever stop feeling the ache of that empty apartment. But I do know this. I survived not just because of the hospital's care, but because I am learning to survive betrayal, to reconstruct the pieces of my life she thought she could erase. And as I lock my apartment door behind me each night, I feel a new weight settle in. Not sorrow, not anger, but a quiet, stubborn determination. My life may have been cleared, given away, but my future? That belongs only to me.